Hi, I'm Kelly with Citracycles.ca, and I'm here to do a long-term review of the Scott eSub Tour e-bike. Let me start by saying this is a fantastic bike. I've really enjoyed riding it. It's a really enjoyable bike all around. And if you're wondering who is this bike for, well, basically anyone that isn't going off-road trails, this is a great bike. It does have the Sun Tour front suspension fork, of course, with a lockout, so you can use it on light gravel trails. I've taken it on a number of gravel trails, and although it does have the narrower tires here, I've never had any concerns about stability or traction. But if you're planning on going on dirt jumping or on trails with a lot of roots and rocks and things like that, obviously you're better served by a mountain bike. But for anything else, this is actually a great bike. It's actually a bike I got for my wife, and it slowly became mine. It started out quite innocently, actually. As you can see, it has the built-in rack here with the built-in fenders. It's got a clip. It's got the bungees. The bungees are included with it, so it's really well thought out. And I just needed to go down to get groceries, and the grocery store is about 2 kilometers from our house. And it's actually at the bottom of a very large hill. But I try not to drive as much as I can in town, so I love riding this bike down to get groceries. It's because of the rack, I can easily put on the pannier bags, and I'm not going to put my cycling clothes on because I'm just going 2 kilometers, so the seat here is really comfortable. I'm not worried about if I've got my cycling pants or shorts on for comfort. And with this upright position here, because it is an urban bike with a step-through frame, it makes it really easy to get on and off, but the upright position also makes it easy in traffic if I've got going through the parking lot at the store and that sort of thing. And what's great about biking to the store, for me at least, and you may find the same, is that because it's 2 kilometers away, I actually can get there to the front door of the grocery store faster on this bike than I can with the vehicle. So if I drive the Jeep there, I have to find a parking spot, then go over to the store, and by the time I've done that, I've actually got there, parked my bike near the front of the store, locked it up, and got in the store. And same for coming back, even though it's a big hill on the way back. This does have the Bosch Performance Line mid-drive, and that gets me up the hill no problem. So I started out, borrowing her bike on occasion for getting groceries, doing errands around town. It's a really easy, accessible bike to hop on and just start riding. And, then a few evenings I found that I didn't have time to get out for a ride during the day, so in the evening I had a little bit of time after the kids went to bed, and again, it's such an easy bike to just hop on and ride, especially with the front suspension there. I can go on some light gravel trails, so I found myself just riding around town. If I was a little bit tired, didn't want to go off-road trails, just kind of ride maybe down to the beach or just around town or on some of the cycling trails. I started using it for that, and I found that it's just so much fun to ride that eventually I started using it for longer distances as well. And it's such a comfortable bike. Again, we've got things like the grips here. They're really, from the shape of them and the softer rubber here, it's really an enjoyable bike to ride. And so I would start riding it when I was doing road trips, mostly on the road, 80-90 kilometers, and just finding that it's a really nice bike to ride for those distances. So you may be looking for a bike to get to work. This is a fantastic bike for that. Maybe you're looking for a bike to go longer distances like I was doing. It's great for that as well. If you're looking for kind of an all-around bike that's going to be great around town and some light gravel trails, it is a fantastic bike. And I do have a Bosch mountain bike that I also use, so when my wife wants her Scott bike back, I certainly allow her to use it, which is nice of her to let me use it as well. And so I'll just take you through some of the features that I really like on the bike, and of course, as I mentioned, It is a step-through frame here, and you can see it's one of the easiest, one of the lowest step-throughs. You can see there's only the one tube here. A lot of times in a step-through they'll have the lower tube, but then they'll have another one here. Sometimes the battery then is mounted on the rack or the front here. I like having the battery in the middle here because of the weight. The disadvantage, of course, instead of having it on the rack, and Bosch does have an option to put it on the rack, is that you've got a little bit less room in between here for getting your feet through, but I haven't found that a problem. So if you have mobility issues or hip issues, you're going to find that this is a great bike because it really does have a very low step through there. And some people have asked if that causes a problem in terms of stiffness of the frame. Scott's done a fantastic job here. I haven't noticed any problems or issues at all. As you can see, it's really well designed in here. It's really strong, very stable, haven't had any issues at all. And so that step-through frame makes it, again, really easy if you're not a cyclist. You don't want to, especially if you've got pannier bags on here, going to the grocery store, and you don't want to have to throw your leg over that back rack and tire. You can just use the step-through frame. So it's a step-through frame design. We've got the Bosch Performance line, which is what they put on it in Canada, and that's a mid-drive motor. And of course, I love the Bosch system. It's one of the best that I've ridden. They put a lot of their automotive technology into there, so it makes it very durable. I expect a long lifetime out of it. The technology they put into the battery is really impressive. It actually, you can see we can charge it on the bike here if we want, or using the key, which by the way is the same key that they use on the wheel lock here, which is really cool. I can take the battery off the frame and charge it inside, but they have a battery management system in here that is really intelligent, and it monitors the battery temperature and things like that. And so when we actually hook this up to the diagnostics, we can see all sorts of information about the battery. And you know, some of the advantages of their battery system, for example, is on the display you actually have a range estimator based on the current mode that you're in. So in Eco here, you can see right now I've got a range estimate of 72 kilometers. If I move that up to Tour, you can see my range drops to 37. If I go up to Sport, it's 30, and on Turbo it goes down to 25. And that's made possible by using their battery management system that knows exactly how much charge is left, and then based on the last 1.5 miles that you've gone, it estimates how far you can get with that charge. So they've done a lot of really neat things like that. I'm not aware of any other bikes that have that feature. The Bosch mid-drive also calculates 1,000 times per second your torque, so that is how much power that you're using to turn the pedals, how hard you're pushing the pedals, your cadence, that is how fast the cranks are turning, and your speed. And there's a speed sensor on the rear tire here. And so using those calculations, it can figure out how much power you need and give that power to you. So it makes it very smooth, very natural. You stop pedaling, it stops assisting you. You start pedaling, it assists you. And that's important, especially if you're in situations where you don't want all of the power that you would get, say, from an e-bike that has a magnet sensor on the crank or even a torque sensor on the rear. Sometimes they're not that accurate, and they can give you more power than you need, and that can be dangerous. So with the Bosch mid-drive here, you get exactly the power that you need. They've done a nice job of putting a chain guard on here. I really like that. Again, if I just want to hop on this bike and go get groceries or do some errands, I'm not having to worry about changing my clothes, putting cycling clothes on, putting something on my pant leg so I don't get it dirty. It's just a really nice, very accessible bike that allows me to ride it whenever I need to. While I've got the camera over here, these pedals, I love these pedals actually. On my mountain bike, of course, I've got bigger platform pedals with some spikes in them, but this is really nice. It's actually really grippy, but almost it doesn't feel soft to touch. But when I'm pedaling, it feels a little bit almost soft. It's really comfortable. It's really nice. I've got a lot of grip on there, but I'm not worried about injuring myself or ripping my clothes if I hit the pedal with my shin, which sometimes happens on my mountain bike. So again, very well thought out for somebody that just needs to hop on the bike and go somewhere. Of course, if you're going distances as well, that's not a problem because it's very comfortable. Going back to this Bosch Performance Line mid-drive, the other advantage of a mid-drive is that you're driving your chain rather than the tire. So that means on our cassette here we've got 10 speeds. This is of course the Shimano Dior, which is great. Very smooth shifting. I've never had any problems with it. It's worked out really well. And with those 10 speeds on the cassette here, if I'm climbing some significant hills, I'm actually leveraging the cassette because my motor is turning the chain. And so that means, like the transmission in a car, I'm actually leveraging my cassette to climb up the hill. Whereas with a rear hub motor, that hub motor really can only spin in one gear. And so when you're going up a hill, you're not taking advantage of your gearing like you can with the mid-drive. So that's another feature that I really like about the Bosch and mid-drives in general is it also, aside from leveraging your cassette, it also gives you more efficient power use. So although this is a almost 400 watt-hour battery, I'm finding that I can get the same amount of range that I can out of a rear hub motor with, say, a 500 watt battery. So it's really very efficient. So let me go back up here. I've indicated that the seat is quite comfortable. It's a Syncros ergo optimized seat, and a lot of times people replace the seats on their bikes, and certainly you may want to do that, but out of the box this is actually very comfortable. Again, these grips, I really love them. They're actually quite comfortable for longer rides. Scott's included a bell. You've got a visual indicator on your Shimano Dior shifters here. You've got the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, and these are full-length levers, which is common on this style of kind of city commuter urban bike. We also have the shifters here. This is actually bi-directional, so you can push here and push here, or if you prefer to use your index finger to pull here, you can do that as well. So that's kind of handy to have. You've got your thumb control here for the Bosch systems. You've got the minus and plus for adjusting the levels, and then the I button here, when I press the I button, it cycles through the display options on the bottom. So you've got a clock, maximum speed, average speed, trip time, and range, which I was showing you along with the total odometer. So you can see I put 688 kilometers on this bike so far. And actually, if I go back here, my max speed on this last ride was close to 55 kilometers an hour. I think my max ever on this bike has been about 62, and I was surprised because I really felt very confident, very stable, and the bike handled really well going those speeds. I don't have any issues with it at all. You'll also notice on the Intuvia display here we've got the integrated lighting, so if I press the light button you can see it tells me the lights come on, and it's really cool because the lights are actually integrated into the fenders, and the front light I find is quite bright. I've been really happy with it, and the rear light, you may not be able to tell in the video, but even in the daytime it's exceptionally bright, and again it's integrated into this rear fender. The fenders are full coverage, very nice. It's kind of a composite material, so they're very, very durable, but also quiet. I haven't heard the fenders rattling like you sometimes do on other bikes. And the other thing that I loved about these fenders is they came pre-installed. So the bike basically, out of the box, was fully assembled, except I needed to twist the handlebars here around and put the pedals on. That was it. Fenders were installed, everything else was installed, which is fantastic because fenders can be one of those things that are really not fun to install. You can see on the headset here on the stem that it's adjustable angle, which is really handy. You can just loosen it off there and underneath there and adjust that, and it tells you the angle that you've got them on there, so that's a nice feature. And Scott's even included a nice bell here for you, and they have the visual display on the Shimano Dior shifters here, which is very handy. And you'll notice actually that the great thing about having the lighting integrated into the system is not only does the power come from the battery here, which is awesome because I'm forever forgetting to charge my lights and finding that they're dead, and or with the disposable ones having to find new batteries. So your lights are powered from the battery here, which you are going to remember to charge, of course. But the NVIDIA system also times out. So when it times out, then it turns itself off and the lights turn off as well. And of course, it only turns itself off, times out, when it's been stationary for a while. So you can see the trip time counter here actually counts the amount of time you're moving, and when you stop moving after a certain amount of time, the bike eventually powers itself off and your lights power off as well, which is fantastic because I'm forever forgetting to turn my lights off on my mountain bike and finding that the lights are dead. So that's a really handy feature to have. Another handy thing is you do have the kickstand built right in here, so you're not worried about finding something that you can mount to your chainstay and worried about whether or not it'll hold up your bike. This is actually integrated right into the bike here, so it's a really nice setup. And while I'm over here, I should also mention, I mentioned the bungees were included. They're actually really strong. I really like these bungees. And it's nice because they fit perfectly. Sometimes it's hard finding the right bungees for your rack. And there's also a little clip here, as you can see, so you're not going to end up with the bungees falling off by mistake or having problems like that. So that's great to see. You can see here we've got the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, decent size rotors. Over here you've got the sensor for the speed sensor as well. And these tires, these are actually the E-Contact, Continental E-Contact tires with the Safety Plus. I've been really impressed with them. I've ridden this bike in all sorts of conditions, including very wet and slippery roads, and never had any loss of traction. They actually handle the wet very well. Light gravel trails, no problem as well, especially when you couple that with the suspension fork. And I've been really impressed with them, actually. They've been really good tires, very stable, fast, quiet, very quiet. That's one of the things I love about this bike, especially if I'm riding around at night in the evening. It's such a quiet bike. It's really enjoyable to ride. The E-Contact with the Safety Plus actually has a lot of puncture resistance, which is great because around here we have a lot of blackberry thorns, and typically in most of my bikes I'll put some stands if I'm using tubes to help mitigate against flat tires. I haven't with these tires, and I haven't had a need to because that puncture resistance has been very effective, and really impressed with it. The E-Contact tires are also e-bike rated, so they recognize that your bike's going to be a little bit heavier, you're going to be going faster speeds, and so they've made the tire carcass a little bit more durable, and all around it's been a really good tire. And it's hard to tell in the video here, but there is a reflective strip all the way around. It really lights up at night when a car shines their lights on it, so that's a really nice safety feature. And there is a lot of nice features about this bike that makes it easy just to ride whenever. I think I mentioned the chain guard here is really handy. You can just jump on and not worry about having to change your clothes, worried about getting grease on your legs. So it's really just this kind of bike that you have that you just start slowly riding more and more and more, and you start finding excuses to go out. Oh, you need some eggs? Sure, I'll go to the store and get those for you and take my bike, because it's such an enjoyable bike to ride. And that's one of the great things about an e-bike, is that for a lot of people that are thinking about buying one, they're not sure how much they'd use it. Once you get one, you start finding that more and more you're riding your bike instead of driving a vehicle, and you start to find that you're in better shape, that you're enjoying your commute to work or enjoying your ride to the store rather than dreading going somewhere. You actually look forward to the opportunities to get outside and ride your bike. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking about an e-bike and you're not sure if you're going to use it, I think you will. I think you'll find that once you have it, the distances become shorter and the hills become flat, and that just makes it a lot of fun. So this is the Scott eSub Tour with the Bosch mid-drive It's a fantastic bike. I've really enjoyed riding it. I highly recommend it. If you do have any questions about it, head over to citruscycles.ca and contact us. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this or any of the other e-bikes.